Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today I titled this message, The Immature Older Man, Older Woman. The Immature Older Man, Older Woman. I have come across my share of individuals that are very immature, yet they look very much like grown adults. They appear like they know much. They have nice automobiles, nice homes, nice cars. But as time goes on, they start to reveal some things about who they really are. Now, they may be very mature in the workplace. They may be very mature acting, very wise in the church. They may even have their moments where they come across quite mature when they are standing before an audience. But these immature yet very grown-up type of individuals have their moments with the one true God. They have moments like teenagers with parents. They are rebellious. Some of you all who have children, you know what I'm talking about. They're stubborn. They're arrogant. They're rude. They say inappropriate things. They don't want to clean up after themselves. They make excuses to get out of some things. They don't like to be generous. They prefer to keep whatever they acquire to themselves. Come on. They have these moments where they simply want to be youthful, wild, crazy. Grown-ups who have relationships that are called friends with benefits. 30 plus, 40, 50 plus years old. Even 60 plus and 70 plus. In relationships with folks barely out of high school. 20-somethings. Not so bad, right? Even though he's 40-something. Don't start, I could hear somebody say, don't start picking on my age gap relationship. I'm not picking on it. I'm in an age gap relationship myself. I'm not going to pick on you. There have been those individuals who paid me much money to share wisdom related to age gap relationships. Before I was even doing a lot of these spiritual messages, a lot of the wisdom that I wrote about, and I spoke about, wrote about as a ghostwriter, as well as with my own byline, has something to do with relationships. And then for one particular group, it was nothing but age gap relationships for years. So this is a subject matter that I'm not going to beat people up about, especially when you walked in it and still in it. Okay. But what I am going to say, though, is that there is an immaturity that takes place with some of these older folks who like to say that the younger folks are mature for their age, using that as an excuse to rob the cradle or be the Chester or be the sugar daddy or whatever else. We're talking about not faith-filled, Bible-believing, sanctified, Holy Ghost type of folks, but we're talking about people who simply are filled with lust. It's not just about being like that stubborn teenager with the one true God or with one's parents, but we're talking about there's some serious errors within these individuals that are leading them down a slippery slope of nothing more than depression, overeating, having children they're really not ready for, taking them down a path where somebody going to rob that bank account sooner or later, taking them down the path where that young person is going to one day wake up and realize, I don't want to be with that old person. Oh yes, the selfish one will come to that revelation. Because you see, wisdom doesn't come out of the mouth of youth unless, of course, God appoints, anoints. And that youth is spending much time reading, studying, and fasting. Okay. But most young people, we know they're not doing that. Your older people, on the other hand, are supposed to be doing this sort of thing. They're supposed to be teaching and preaching and leading and educating and being mentors and so on and so forth. But what happens is some of the older folks end up sleeping with their students. It wasn't that she was meant to be the wife. She was meant to be the student. If that man had been where he needed to be with God, it wasn't that that older woman was supposed to be with that younger man. Really, she was supposed to direct him toward the one true God and get that man saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is convicting for some folk, because I know, yeah, those hormones kick in, don't they? The midlife, mid-crisis, mid-whatever is showing up, and you are wondering what's happening to you, or for some of you all, you already know what's happening, and you just ride in the waves. But God does eventually call us older folks to some maturity. Where, no, they don't need the youthful message. They don't need you to be looking like them, young and youthful and silly and dumb. They don't need for you to act immature like them. What he calls us to is more like the image of the woman with the white hair who sits down and she's speaking very wise things, or like the older man who's walking with the cane and there's the youth next to him and he's speaking some words of knowledge. Not like the friend who's slapping his friend on the back and talking about, hey, what's up? And you want to try this and hit up this and, oh, let's go over here and let's do this, that, and the other. No, God's not calling us to that type of relationship. Or like the older man who likes nothing but young women who look a certain way, and he's willing to pay so much money to get his needs met. No, he's not calling us to that kind of relationship either. And I've exposed that sort of relationship even right on this channel. And yes, I have my share of knowledge in that area, because of the types of folks that I was around, and because of the things that I heard, and because of what I experienced, and then what relatives had done over the course of their years. Immature. Did not reach a sense of maturity. Not spiritually, not mentally, and for some folks, not physically. So immature likes to look for immature. Immature tries to pretend like he or she is mature. Uh-oh. And sometimes that gets old. And so if I can be around somebody who's going to make me feel good, who's going to make me feel like I'm young again, why not? I mean, we can go here, we can do this, we can have a good time. But at some point, though, that maturity within, maybe it may not be in the mind, but it's sure in the body. Let me sit down somewhere. And that immature comes over and says, come on, let's go. Come on. No, I need a rest. You see. So immature starts looking for somebody who's more fun. Oh, I used to read those articles and little comments. I don't like my older partner any longer. Why? Because he likes to sleep. And I like to go places. I mean, and he always likes to sleep at the wrong time. I mean, I want to get the party started like at 11, and he wants to go to bed at 11. What did you expect? Did you do any research about the body and how, as we mature, we don't do as much as we once did? Well, there's so many people who, well, that's them over there, but you happen to be with the one who likes to sleep. Come on. Or the guy who says, well, I don't know if I can keep putting up with her because, you know, she going through some kind of woman issue. Oh, you mean menopause or perimenopause? Well, yeah. Well, that's part of the reason why she got divorced, because all of those symptoms were out of control. Her own mature husband couldn't even deal with them. So what made you think at 20 some years old that you was going to be able to tolerate her perimenopause and her menopausal symptoms? Immaturity, you see. I'm not willing to do any research. I'm not willing to show any type of understanding. I just want things to be fun, right? What makes children immature is their lack of wisdom, is their lack of knowledge, is the fact that they can't help you. They need more help than you need. They need the guidance. They need the support. They're still growing. Some of you all, you know that for the human mind with women, you're not technically fully developed in your mind until about 24. So we got some childlike sort of things happening in our minds up until 24. 24 was a magic number in my family when most of the women got pregnant. Just got fully developed mentally. And here we are having babies. Just got there. And some of us, we had a hard time dealing with that. I wrote When Mothers Cry. Check that out. I'm just now beginning my life. I'm just now getting some perspective on who I am and what I want to do. And then along comes a baby. Well, what do you expect if you already had practice at 15, 16, 17? And some people tell me it's even younger nowadays, 12 and 13. Practice sexually. That leaves an imprint on your mind over time. An imprint on your mind that isn't so mature or wise. And you reap what you sow when you make unwise decisions. We know 12, 13, 14, 15. Come on now. Sex is hard enough to deal with when you are full age, grown. Some people still got issues at 20 and 30 some years old about sex. So you expect a person at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old to have some type of understanding, deep understanding when it comes to sex? All they know is to get hooked. Can I get some more? Can I get some more? Can I get that feeling again? Until somebody eventually gets some type of STD or some pregnancy. Hoping that sex was going to somehow bond a relationship. If I give it up, maybe he'll stick around. You know, that's an immature way of thinking, but we got those who are young who think that way. And the older people take advantage of it. I've got those audio messages that talk about older people taking advantage of the young. And I know some people don't like those messages because they know that they're doing sneaky things in order to get a young person to cough up their money, their car, their home, sex, or even to get an in on the mother or the father. Maybe I can befriend the daughter because I really want the mother. Maybe I can befriend the son, but I really want the father. You see? People got these things that they're doing. And God, he says that I called you to be mature, to be wise. I called you to teach, preach, lead, and educate. Why are you running around with these young people dressed in young looking clothes and thinking that they're going to respect you? Can I tell you that they're not going to respect you? And we don't want to hear that. God will use people to talk to us about all sorts of things when it comes to being that mature, virtuous woman, being that wise, older man. And we'll make up excuses. We'll run from it. We'll say that you're crowding me out. You're cramping my style. I mean, old is just a thought. It's just what some people think about. I don't consider myself to be any of it. Okay, keep on. Age defying, age denying. But somebody will snap you back into reality. And if they don't, your face, your body over time will snap you back into reality. This is why some men said, you know what? I'm done with the younger women because I already know I can't handle younger women. Younger women, they got this, that, and the other going on with them. You know, I thought that this one was mature. I thought this one knew a thing or two. And turns out that this one doesn't know too much of anything. She was just pretending to be mature. That's right. because she knows how to act. She knows how to play the game. Her mother or some other folks may have told her, this is what you do if you want to keep an older man. But she can't keep up that act up forever, because there's a part of her that is still very much immature, still very youthful, still wants to sow her oats, still wants to get out there and have some fun. So she comes across an immature older man. I'm just giving an example. And the immature older man who is trying to relive his youth, the immature older man who's trying to get away from all things that hurt him, because sometimes it's not about reliving youth. Sometimes it's just getting away from responsibility and things that have hurt him, like the divorce, like the children who no longer want to deal with him. So she is a nice little pastime, a nice little distraction. Some older people have mental illness. This is something that we cannot run away from. And their mental illness tells them that you don't need to go see a counselor. What you need to see is a younger person. And the younger person can act as a counselor for you, which is crazy because, once again, a person who hasn't lived that long on this planet, hasn't experienced much, they really can't tell you too much of anything. They haven't studied about mental health or mental well-being. How are they going to pull you up out of your depression when it comes back again? Maybe they, by luck, by chance, by coincidence, or by God's holy hand, was able to pull you up out of the depression, but now it has come back again. And all she wants to do is go out and have some fun, or she wants to have sex, or she wants to go shopping, or she wants to buy some new things for the new house that the older man bought her. But she needs a counselor, you see. She's going through much. And there are some things that some of us, we simply cannot, as older people, help you with. You need a professional, right? And the older people need a professional. Young people who have gotten themselves mixed up in the world of an older person are forced to act older. Because at some point, the older person gets tired of the immature acts, because we do have those who act young. And you get tired of putting on that act. I want to have a quality conversation. I'm sick of the silly little conversation about whatever that is meaningless. I need something that I can apply to my life. Something that is going to bring me up out of my trials, my tribulations. Something that's going to provide some solutions. Something that's going to get me on that path toward my dreams. Is this young person going to do that for me? Is this older person going to do that for me? Because there were times when I was dating individuals as a young person, and I was hoping that an older person could give me some perspective, some enlightenment. And I didn't get that. Instead, I got a lot of lustful types of men who wanted to simply just sleep with me and then move on to the next young person. Okay? And then, of course, there were those older men that were expecting something from me that was mature. And I wasn't ready to be mature. And one particular individual decided that he thought he could be physically abusive to cause me to submit, cause me to, do what he wanted when he wanted. And so much for that. You're not going to hit me upside my head and grab on me and spit on me and do whatever and think that I'm going to be all things to you. Basically beat the player card out of me. And in time, as I got older and realized some things, I said that I'm not going to allow myself to put on any acts. I'm going to be real. If I'm immature, I'm immature. If I'm mature, I'm mature. Whatever they see, as long as they see that it's me. And some of you older people as well as younger people, you need to show each other who you really are. No acts, no games. Some people, the reason why they are afraid to take off the mask, to take off the facade, is because they know that when they do that, that young person's going to run, or that older person is going to say, But it's better that you know now before the children are born. It's better that you know now before you get married. Okay. It's better that you know now before you end up getting caught up in all sorts of traumas and dramas. Because you don't just get involved with the individual, but you get involved with all of what is associated with that individual, including maybe that mama that you don't particularly like, or that father that, or the siblings that you don't want to see all the time. There is so much to this immature and mature that this message would be far too long, but I'm hitting some subject matter because I got to see something in an individual that was quite disturbing. It was the little boy that showed up on the face of a grown man. God allowed me to see. And this little boy was attracted to the younger woman who had girl-like ways about her. And what was sad was that the trauma was showing up in this relationship, in this connection. And when the trauma is left unchecked, those losses, for instance, that one has experienced and you're running away from them, when it shows up, there's nothing more than a bad ending. A bad ending. Somebody not ready for children, or somebody contracting an STD, or somebody finding out that there's other boyfriends or other girlfriends. It's just a bad ending because the boy needs some peace of mind. And when the boy doesn't have peace of mind, when the man has not allowed maturity to take over 100% in one's mind, body, and spirit, immaturity takes over. And then, of course, what's tied to immaturity is also some demonic activity. So one starts operating spiritually in carnality, flesh, right? What the flesh wants, rather than in spirit, what God wants. If I'm not interested in spirituality, I'm not interested in getting cleaned up. It sounds all so mature to me. It sounds like old folks stuff. Then I'm going to keep appeasing the immature young boy, young girl within me, who's never satisfied, by the way. I learned that from personal experience going through my own therapy. Thank you, Jesus. That little girl just wanted all these things that made no sense to me as a mature adult. And I said, wait a minute, what's going on with me? And the Lord said, there's one part of your therapy that needs to be dealt with. And that is letting go of that little girl who didn't get what she wanted. She's gone. Those years have passed by. Now it's time to get the grown woman what she wants. So I gave over that little girl through prayer, fasting, meditation, over to the one true God. And I know that she's safe right in his loving arms. It's a part of one's personality, basically. It's all nothing more than this selfish, self-centered type of issue with a child within that needs to be delivered. The demonic takes over something like that. And then, of course, we got all sorts of spiritual names. Psychologists will look at something like that, and then they have all sorts of psychological names. At the end of the day, you go to your creator, you talk to your creator, you ask the creator to help you be delivered from that immature, youthful self on the inside that just might cost you your life, because that's where some people will do some crazy things to appease that little girl or that little boy that go beyond just dating somebody younger. They find themselves taking up these hobbies that their body cannot handle. They find themselves going places and spending all sorts of money that should have been used for retirement. They find themselves getting involved with all sorts of people doing some things that they know their mother would blush about. And if only the guys at work knew, you see. Some people get themselves mixed up in things that could put them in jail, okay? Messing around with these immature, demonic-like spirits, youthful self, age-defying self, whatever you want to call it. But that's a self that is not doing nothing more than leading people straight down a rabbit hole. Okay? And this is why it is so crucial to sit down, spend some time with yourself, and analyze those areas of your life where you experience loss. Look at where you made some unwise, immature, foolish decisions, and check out the patterns, because if there are patterns, you want to break those patterns. That's when you want to get your spiritual counselor involved, your psychologist, your supportive network. You want to read some books about your situation if you have a clue as to what is going on with you. Sometimes the children will expose you by saying, why are you dating all these women? These women are like half your age. Why are you over there, mom, dressing like that? You know you don't wear stuff like that. And it's embarrassing. I mean, your body doesn't even fit right in that outfit. You see, There are some things that your children will say, your grandchildren even. You will find out that it's hormonal. Sometimes it's simply not about a demonic oppression or suppression or something from childhood or losses that were experienced. It's simply hormones. And so I need to make a doctor's appointment. I need to take, vitamins, get a blood test. Work out, get my mind right, because this is insane what I'm doing. You see. Now, sometimes there are those things that you do that are helpful, that are beneficial. Some of these age gap relationships did actually turn out to be quality relationships, you see. But remember, if a young person is maturing very quickly, there was also some trauma that took place as well. There are those studies out there that show that there are those children who mature rapidly due to the trauma that they've gone through. And you can research that. That is very enlightening. Okay. Talk mature, act mature, a lot of stuff. And then you will start to see that trauma show up in various ways. Personality disorders, for one, because it's left unchecked. Okay. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know why I freak out every time we have an argument. I don't know why I get this way. Right. And then you find out, she went through some stuff. It was a sexual abuse situation, or it was dating violence, or it was peer abuse, or it was bullying. Okay. And unless you have the patience to deal with all of that inner work that she will have to go through, or he will have to go through, it's going to be one of those roller coaster ride of a relationships. Okay. And you don't want to have to deal with something like that if you know that you got your own share of issues. And some people simply say, I'm too old for this. And so if you are too old for it, then maybe you shouldn't be in it. Okay. So may God be with each and every person that is struggling with the maturity versus the immaturity, detecting some things that are just not quite right, maybe with someone around you. Please, in Jesus' mighty name, pray for them, okay? And ask that the Lord will show them what is happening, and that they will get the peace of mind, the deliverance that they need, that they will stop making foolish decisions, especially when children are involved. A lot of folks will do this sort of thing and think that children don't pay attention, but you can scar children mentally making immature, unwise, foolish decisions, okay? My children have shared some interesting information with me over the years. Be the smart one. Be the wise one. Okay. Know when to simply say, that's not for me. I'm just too old. Don't wait for people to tell you. Just have enough sense to say, I'm just too old for this. Okay. May God richly bless you as well as those that you love. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. Also, if you haven't given, we do welcome donations and blessings to all of those individuals who have given. If you would like to reach out to me, my email is NichollMcGuire@gmail.com. Once again, do check the description box for some interesting books down there, and I have some. Thank you, and blessings once again to you.